Her friend was doing a love story photo shoot and asked if we could help. My girlfriend told me she'd meet me there. When I arrived, she was already posing with another guy. I pulled her aside, confused. She smirked and said, "Relax, you're not exactly camera material." I just didn't want it to feel like cheating. I didn't say a word, just turned around and left. 5 days later, her parents called me. "Before we start, I just want to say thank you for being here. It means the world. But take a look at this. Only 8% of people watching are subscribed. If you enjoy these stories and want to support more of them, just one click makes a huge difference." People ask me if I saw it coming. The truth? Yes and no. I saw the red flags with Beth, but I ignored them because of where I was in life. Fresh off a major product launch that had consumed 2 years of my existence, I was mentally exhausted and lonely. Beth was beautiful, outgoing, and seemed genuinely interested in my work. Looking back, the warning signs were there from day one. Beth and I dated for 8 months. She worked as an event coordinator for a luxury hotel chain, a job that perfectly suited her obsession with appearances and social status. I'm a software developer who created a cybersecurity app that recently got acquired by a major tech company. Not exactly a match made in heaven, but I thought we balanced each other out. She brought spontaneity to my structured life. I provided stability to her chaos. At least, that's what I told myself. Throughout our relationship, Beth made subtle comments about my appearance. Nothing overtly cruel, just little jabs about how I should dress the guys in her social circle, or how I could clean up nicely if I tried harder. I brushed it off. When you grow up as the awkward computer kid who found refuge in code rather than popularity, you develop a certain immunity to those remarks. Besides, I had more important things to focus on. The final stages of my company's acquisition were in progress, which meant endless meetings, legal reviews, and technical handoffs. Beth complained about my limited availability but seemed to understand it was temporary. 3 weeks ago, Beth's friend Zoe, an aspiring photographer, asked if we could help with a love story photo shoot for her portfolio. Beth immediately agreed, telling me she'd handle the details and I should just meet them at Whitman Park at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I wasn't thrilled about spending my one free day posing for photos, but Beth seemed excited, so I agreed. That Saturday, I arrived at the park 5 minutes early, coffee in hand for Beth. Almond milk latte, 1 pump vanilla, her usual. As I approached the fountain where we were supposed to meet, I saw them. Beth was already there, wrapped in the arms of a tall guy with perfectly styled hair and the kind of casual, expensive clothes that scream, "I have a trust fund." Zoe was circling them with her camera, directing their poses. For a moment, I thought I had the wrong day or location. But no. There was Zoe, and there was Beth, and there was definitely not me in those pictures. I walked over, confusion overtaking any immediate emotional response. Beth noticed me approaching and whispered something to the guy, who nodded and stepped away to check his phone. "What's going on?" I asked, handing her the coffee more out of reflex than anything else. Beth pulled me aside, a few feet away from Zoe and Trust Fund. "Look, it's not a big deal. Zoe needed couples photos, and honestly, you're not exactly camera material." She gestured vaguely at my entire existence. "Brandon is a model, Zoe knows. I just didn't want it to feel like cheating, but it's just for photos." She said it with such casual cruelty, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. Then she smirked. Not a full smile, just that slight upward curve of superiority. "Relax, it's not personal. It's aesthetic." In that moment, something inside me went very quiet and very cold. All the background noise of the park, children playing, birds singing, Zoe's camera clicking, faded away. I looked at Beth, really looked at her, and realized I was seeing her clearly for the first time. I didn't say a word. Didn't need to. I simply turned around and walked away, her coffee still in her hand. Behind me, I heard her huff in annoyance before calling, "So dramatic, just wait at the cafe until we're done if you're gonna be like this." I didn't stop, didn't look back. Just kept walking straight to my car. As I drove home, I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt, which surprised me. I felt clarified, like I'd been looking at a blurry image for 8 months, and suddenly someone had adjusted the focus. When I got home, I blocked Beth's number, removed her from my social media, and changed the codes to my building. Then I opened my laptop and got to work on something I should have finished weeks ago. Let me explain. The acquisition of my company included a stipulation that I develop a proprietary image recognition algorithm that could identify manipulated photos and videos, an increasingly valuable tool in the age of deepfakes. I'd been stalling on the final stages because the test dataset I was using wasn't yielding the accuracy rates I wanted. That afternoon, with a strange, detached focus, I had a breakthrough. The problem wasn't my algorithm, it was the testing methodology. By evening, I had restructured the entire approach and watched as my accuracy rates jumped from 78% to 94.3%. I worked through the night, fueled by clarity rather than emotion. The next morning, Beth started the inevitable barrage. First texts, which bounced back, then emails, then mutual friends checking if I was okay. Translation: Beth sent them to feel me out. Her messages evolved from annoyed, seriously overreacting, to concerned, "Are you all right?" to angry, real mature blocking me, to self-pitying, "I guess I meant nothing to you." I responded to none of them. Meanwhile, I finalized my algorithm and sent it to the acquisition team. Their response was immediate and enthusiastic. The technology exceeded their expectations, and they fast-tracked the final payment, a sum that made my previous payday look like pocket change. On day 3, Beth showed up at my apartment. My doorman, Miguel, had strict instructions to not allow her up. When she made a scene in the lobby, he called security. I found out later that she tried to claim we'd had a fight and she'd left important medication in my apartment. Miguel, who had seen enough toxic relationships to recognize the signs, wasn't buying it. By day 4, Beth had escalated to having her best friend accidentally run into me at my regular coffee shop. Jasmine approached with practiced concern, talking about how worried everyone was, how Beth was absolutely devastated, and how there must have been a terrible misunderstanding. I looked at Jasmine and said, the only words I'd spoken about the situation. There was no misunderstanding. She was perfectly clear. Then I picked up my coffee and left, ignoring her calls to wait and talk. On the 5th day, I received a call from a number I recognized, Beth's parents. Why did I have their number? Because 2 months earlier, Beth had insisted I meet them during their visit to the city. They'd been surprisingly warm people, especially her father Robert, who had taken a genuine interest in my work. We'd exchanged numbers after I helped him set up some security features on his devices. I almost didn't answer. In retrospect, I wish I hadn't. But curiosity got the better of me. "Hello, Robert," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Ben," he replied, his tone serious. "I think we need to talk about Beth. With all due respect, there's nothing to discuss." "I think there is," he insisted. "She told us what happened, and I—" "Did she tell you she replaced me with a model for her friend's photo shoot because I'm not camera material?" I interrupted. "Did she mention that part?" Silence. "Then that's not the version we heard." "I'm not surprised. She said you saw her helping a friend with photos and stormed off without explanation. She's been trying to reach you for days to clear things up." I laughed, surprising myself. "That's creative. Tell me, Robert, does that sound like rational behavior from someone who just closed a multi-million-dollar tech deal? Storming off over nothing?" Another pause. "Multi-million?" That's when I realized Beth had never told her parents about my company or the acquisition. In her narrative, I was probably just some moderately successful programmer who was lucky to date her. "Look, Robert, I respect you and Ellen, but your daughter made it very clear what she thinks of me. I've moved on. I suggest everyone else does too." "Ben, wait." But I had already hung up. 20 minutes later, my phone pinged with an email from Zoe, Beth's photographer friend. The subject line read, "You should see these." Against my better judgment, I opened it. The email contained a link to a private gallery and a brief message. "Beth doesn't know I'm sending these. I'm so sorry." The link led to dozens of photos from the park shoot, photos of Beth and Brandon posing romantically, but there was something strange about them, something off in their body language. In several shots, Beth was looking past the camera, her expression changing from posed affection to genuine surprise and then annoyance. The timestamp showed these were taken right as I arrived. The final few photos in the gallery weren't posed at all. They showed Beth pulling me aside, her face captured in perfect clarity as she delivered her not camera material speech. The last image showed my expressionless face as I turned to walk away, Beth still smirking behind me. Zoe had captured everything. I sat there staring at those images, a plan forming. I had just perfected an algorithm that could verify the authenticity of photos, prove they hadn't been manipulated or altered. And here was Zoe, inadvertently providing me with the perfect revenge. I downloaded the photos, then sent Zoe a simple reply, "Thank you for your honesty." The next morning, I submitted my final algorithm demonstration to the acquisition team with a special edition. To showcase the technology's ability to authenticate genuine images, I included Zoe's photo series in the test dataset, with Beth and Brandon's faces visible but names removed. The documentation simply referred to them as Subject F and Subject M in public park setting. The algorithm authenticated the images as 100% genuine, no manipulation, no editing. Just the raw truth of Beth's cruelty, now permanently embedded in a technology demonstration that would be viewed by every major executive at one of the world's largest tech companies. What I hadn't realized was that Beth's luxury hotel chain, Meridian Hotels, had been pursuing a major contract with this same tech company, Tech Vision, to become their exclusive event venue for corporate retreats and conferences. Beth had been personally handling their account and was in line to become the dedicated coordinator for all Tech Vision events, a career-making position she'd mentioned wanting but never explained the details of. 2 days later, I received an unexpected visitor at my office, Ellen, Beth's mother. My assistant was hesitant to let her in, but I waved her through. Unlike her husband's call, I was curious about this visit. Ellen looked tired. She sat down across from me, declined the offered coffee, and got straight to the point. "Robert told me about your conversation. I wanted to hear your side directly." I recounted the incident at the park exactly as it happened. No embellishment, no emotional overlay, just facts. Ellen nodded slowly. "That sounds more like the Beth I've been seeing lately," she said, surprising me. "She's changed the last few years, more concerned with appearances than substance." "I'm sorry to hear that. The reason I'm here..." She hesitated. "Beth has been offered a major opportunity at work, a dedicated coordinator position for Tech Vision's events, life-changing money." I kept my expression neutral, already seeing where this was heading. Yesterday, she was told the offer is on hold pending a review. Apparently, her likeness appeared in some internal demonstration at the company. Something about photo verification technology. The algorithm demonstration. It had made its way through Tech Vision's executive team faster than I expected. The chief technology officer who'd been reviewing my work was also overseeing their corporate event strategy and had recognized Beth from their recent venue negotiations with Meridian Hotels. "That's unfortunate," I said, not offering any further comment. Ellen studied my face. "You don't seem surprised. Technology moves quickly. Ben," she said, leaning forward, "I'm not here to ask you to fix this for her. I'm here because I need to know, did you deliberately sabotage my daughter's career?" I met her gaze directly. "I submitted genuine, unaltered photos to demonstrate my algorithm's ability to detect authentic images. Photos taken in a public park that happened to show your daughter's true character. Nothing more, nothing less." Ellen sat back, absorbing this. "She told us you were just a regular programmer, never mentioned your company or any acquisition. That's consistent with how she saw me." She nodded, then stood to leave. At the door, she paused. "For what it's worth, I think Beth is getting exactly what she deserves. Not from you, from life." She gave me a sad smile. "You were never not camera material, Ben. You were just not the prop she wanted." After she left, I received an email notification. The final acquisition papers were ready for signature. The algorithm had been accepted, and my technology would soon be implemented across one of the largest social media platforms in the world. Technology designed to reveal truth from artifice, to separate authentic moments from manufactured ones. I signed the papers digitally, a sense of completion washing over me. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Somehow, Beth had gotten a new phone to bypass my block. "You ruined everything. That job was mine. All because I hurt your fragile ego? Real men don't need revenge." I didn't respond, but I didn't block this number either. I wanted to see if she had anything else to reveal about herself. An hour later, my boss showed me the photos. from your presentation. You planned this all along, didn't you? Use me for your little tech demo? Answer me. I let her spiral, each message more revealing than the last. Finally, I responded with a single line. I didn't plan anything. I simply showed the world exactly who you are. Clear, unfiltered, and authenticated. Then I blocked the new number too. 2 weeks later, I received an invitation to speak at a major tech conference about my algorithm and its applications in combating digital misinformation. The event was being held at the Grand Azalea Hotel, part of the Lux Hospitality Group, Meridian's biggest competitor. At the conference, after my presentation, a woman approached me. She introduced herself as Victoria Chen, Executive VP of Lux Hospitality Group. Your presentation was fascinating, Mr. Mercer, she said. We've been looking at implementing stronger verification protocols for our corporate clients, and your work might be exactly what we need. We chatted briefly about potential applications before she added, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but we recently hired a new event coordinator who recognized your name from the speaker list. Beth Williams? She mentioned having worked with you previously. It took me a moment to process this. Beth works for Lux now? I thought she was with Meridian Hotels. Victoria nodded. She was, until recently. There was apparently some situation with a major client. She lowered her voice. Between us, TechVision pulled their contract with Meridian after some concerns about staff professionalism. We managed to secure their business, and Beth approached us shortly after, explaining that she wanted a fresh start. I maintained a neutral expression, though internally I was connecting the dots. After losing the TechVision opportunity at Meridian, Beth had jumped ship to their competitor, likely downplaying her involvement in the lost contract. I nodded politely. Everyone deserves a second chance. Just make sure your photographer gets her good side. The VP looked confused, but I simply smiled and excused myself. Sometimes the most devastating revenge isn't about destroying someone's life. It's about ensuring they face the unfiltered reality of who they truly are, without manipulation, without editing, without the ability to rewrite the narrative. In the end, Beth got exactly what she wanted. A world where appearances matter and authenticity is verified. She just didn't expect to be on the wrong side of the lens.